Life is difficult. With those three words, Monsieur Scott Peck opens The Road Less Travelled, a book that has guided millions toward emotional maturity, spiritual strength, and self-understanding. Peck's message is not easy, but it's liberating. Real growth begins when we stop avoiding pain and start using it as fuel for transformation. He argues that the easy path, the one most people take, leads to short-term comfort but long-term emptiness. The hard path, the road less travelled, requires discipline, truth, love, and faith. It's not for everyone, but those who walk it discover a deeper sense of meaning, peace, and purpose. Peck, both a psychiatrist and spiritual thinker, blends psychology and spirituality to show that personal growth is not just mental, it's a sacred journey. The mind, heart, and soul must evolve together. Growth requires honesty with ourselves, responsibility for our lives, and courage to face pain without running from it. The first lesson from The Road Less Travelled is discipline is the foundation of growth. Peck explains that life's challenges are not punishments, they are invitations to grow. To live well, we must master 4 tools of discipline: delaying gratification, accepting responsibility, dedication to truth, and balancing. The first, delaying gratification, means doing what's right before doing what's easy. Study before you play. Save before you spend. Listen before you speak. This is emotional maturity, the ability to prioritize long-term well-being over short-term pleasure. Children seek instant gratification. Adults delay it for greater rewards. The second, accepting responsibility, is about refusing to play the victim. Peck writes, "We cannot solve life's problems except by solving them. When you take ownership of your life, you gain power. Blaming others may feel easier, but it leaves you powerless. Responsibility isn't about guilt, it's about freedom, because once you admit your role in your problems, you gain the ability to change them." The third, dedication to truth, means facing reality as it is. Peck calls lying to others, or to yourself, a form of spiritual laziness. When we distort truth to protect our egos or avoid discomfort, we prevent real growth. The more truth we can tolerate, the more mentally healthy we become. Truth is painful at first, but it leads to healing and clarity. The fourth, balancing, means learning flexibility, knowing when to hold on and when to let go. Life requires constant adjustment. Too much rigidity leads to frustration. Too much passivity leads to chaos. Balance allows you to live with wisdom, not reacting emotionally, but responding intentionally. The second great theme of the book is love, not as a feeling, but as an act of will. Peck challenges the popular idea that love is just chemistry or romance. Feelings fade, commitment doesn't. Real love, he says, is choosing to nurture another's spiritual growth, even when it's inconvenient or difficult. Love is extending yourself, giving time, energy, and attention to help another person evolve. It's not dependency, which says, "I need you to complete me." True love says, "I choose to help you grow, and I'll grow with you." This shift from need to will transforms relationships. Peck also explains that love includes self-love. You can't give what you don't have. Caring for your own growth through honesty, self-discipline, and reflection is the foundation for caring about others. Love expands outward from inner integrity. The third major lesson is growth requires confrontation. Peck explains that emotional pain is unavoidable and avoiding it only deepens it. Many people spend their lives trying to escape discomfort through distraction, denial, or blame. But avoidance only creates stagnation. True healing begins when we face our fears head-on, when we stop numbing ourselves and start learning from what hurts. For example, confronting conflict in a relationship can be painful, but it leads to deeper understanding and intimacy. Facing your insecurities may feel terrifying, but it's how you build confidence. Every time you face a fear, it loses its power. The path of avoidance feels safe, but it's an illusion. Growth always requires courage. The fourth lesson is grace exists. After exploring the psychological side of growth, Peck turns toward the spiritual. He believes there is a mysterious, benevolent force that supports our evolution, what he calls grace. It's the quiet, guiding presence that gives us strength in our darkest moments. Some call it God, the universe, or simply love. Whatever name you give it, grace is the current that carries us forward when our own strength runs low. Peck writes that grace doesn't eliminate struggle, it accompanies it. It's the unexplained help that arrives just when we think we can't go on. It's the friend who calls at the right moment, the book that opens our mind, or the sudden insight that heals our pain. Grace meets us when we take responsibility for our growth. The fifth lesson is spiritual growth requires self-awareness. Peck explains that the journey toward enlightenment begins with understanding our own minds. Most people live unconsciously reacting from old patterns, fears, and conditioning. Growth begins when we start observing ourselves honestly. When we ask, why did I react that way? What am I afraid of? What truth am I avoiding? Self-awareness shines light into the dark corners of the mind. It reveals hidden motives and illusions. Peck says that this process is not comfortable, but it's essential. The journey of spiritual growth is a journey through the heart of darkness, he writes. We must face the parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore, the selfishness, envy, and fear, in order to transform them. The sixth lesson is evil is laziness. Peck's definition of evil is unconventional. He says evil is not necessarily cruelty or violence. It's the refusal to confront truth. It's spiritual laziness, the choice to deny reality rather than face it. Evil people, he explains, hide their flaws by projecting them onto others. They manipulate to maintain comfort and control. The antidote is courage. The courage to see clearly and take responsibility for your impact. The seventh lesson is, life's problems are the path. Peck reminds us that suffering is not an interruption to life, it is life. Our challenges are not obstacles to happiness. They are the training ground for wisdom. Problems, he writes, call forth our courage and our wisdom. Indeed, they create our courage and our wisdom. Every hardship, every failure is an opportunity to evolve. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this here to teach me? Your entire relationship to pain changes. You stop running from life and start cooperating with it. The eighth lesson is spiritual growth never ends. Peck concludes by explaining that growth is not a destination, it's a journey. No matter how wise or disciplined you become, there is always more to learn. The road less travelled is not about reaching perfection, it's about continuous evolution, becoming a little more honest, more loving, and more free every day. He emphasizes that walking this road requires faith, not blind belief, but trust in the process of growth itself. The road is steep and sometimes lonely, but grace meets you along the way. So how do we apply the road less travelled today? Start with awareness. Notice where you avoid discomfort or tell yourself comforting lies. Then choose growth instead of escape. Practice discipline. Delay gratification. Face truth and take responsibility. Choose real love. Love that helps you and others evolve, and trust that grace will meet you halfway. In a world addicted to speed, comfort, and instant gratification, Peck's wisdom feels revolutionary. The easy road is crowded. It's filled with distraction, noise, and emotional dependency. But the road less travelled, though narrow and challenging, leads to authenticity, peace, and deep joy. The big takeaway from the road less travelled is this: the path to fulfillment is the path of effort. Real happiness comes not from avoiding life's difficulties, but from growing through them. Discipline, love, truth, and faith are the stepping stones to wisdom, and the journey never ends. That was The Road Less Travelled by M. Scott Peck, broken down into its most powerful lessons in under 12 minutes. Which part of the journey resonates most with you, discipline, love, or spiritual growth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Thanks for watching, and remember, life's hardest roads often lead to its most beautiful destinations.